more
This
to it
conference will
also.
now be recorded.
So,
Yes.
Louise, can you say that again?
Yes, I was just saying that I'm sort of new to the group, joining the group, but for the last 2 years, I was saying that I don't think I've missed one Wednesday after your Tuesday meeting. And so when I decided to join, I think it was the first afternoon group, I felt
Yeah.
like I knew everybody, for 2 years, like the regulars. And so I joined the group and with such enthusiasm, as if you're joining a very familiar group. And I was like, hi, how is
I love
everybody
that so
doing,
much.
And I had this kind of cautioned response, like, who is this woman? But the other thing is that I look at the numbers of how many people have viewed, and it's always like 70 or 70 plus. So
Yeah, yeah.
I just wanted to encourage the people that are doing what I was doing for 2 years to, if you want to join, it would be really wonderful. It's a really good experience. Yeah.
That's
Thank you. Yeah,
amazing.
I
Yeah,
agree.
thank you. Yeah. Yeah, don't be shy. It's okay.
No, don't be shy.
It's okay if you know us and we don't know you. We'll get a laugh out of it.
Yeah, we're excited to get to know
Yeah.
you. That's right.
Yes.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Louise. Well, do y'all want to like go around and introduce yourselves? I'm acting like as if you guys are in the room with me. I know you're not, but
which is fine. But let us just first say this
yes.
is, in case you're wondering, this is the MS group, and we're looking at our beautiful moderator from San Antonio in the absence of Miss Kim, who is on vacation in the
Yeah.
Northwest somewhere, correct?
Yeah, yeah. I don't know exactly where, but she's on vacation. That's so that's great. I'm happy for her. Okay, so all right. Well, let me just quickly introduce myself real quick. So again, like Rick said, I'm from San Antonio, Texas. It is hot down here, but I am coping. Um, Again, my name is Hannah, and what else do I say? I always forget. I always forget where we're supposed to. Oh yeah, I'm on.
Relapsing or
Yes, yes, relapsing remitting, and I am on Ocrevus right now as my medication. So very well controlled. Luis, do you want to go ahead and go?
Yeah. I'm Louise, and I'm from Cape Breton, Nova Scotia, in Canada. And I've been diagnosed since 1991, so that's like 33 years. And when I was first diagnosed, I was diagnosed with trigeminal neuralgia and MS. So the trigeminal neuralgia was so intense that I didn't know what was hurting. But anyway, I take baclofen. Yeah. So I kind of was getting on there, talking too much. So, Andrea.
You're good. Yes, Andrea,
hello,
go
my
ahead.
name is Andrea. And today I am in Raleigh, North Carolina, and I was diagnosed with relapsing MS in 2012, but I think I had been suffering for decades prior to that. I am currently on Ocrevus, and I think that was it.
All right, perfect. Michelle, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, I'm Michelle Jones, and I was originally diagnosed in 2006, 2005-ish, 2006.
Mm.
Wasn't given a diagnosis or a specific name until this year or a couple of years ago, called RRMS, and
Okay,
I'm on Copaxone, otherwise known as gluturamine.
gotcha. And where are you from, Michelle?
I'm in Atlanta, Georgia.
Okay, Georgia. Awesome. All right. Um, so Michelle, have you been here before to one of our meetings?
Yeah, I came to the one at 8:30, and the Thursday one, the fourth
Okay.
Thursday in the month. You have it the second and fourth Thursday every month.
Oh,
Cool.
yes, okay. Okay, yes, okay. So yeah, we have it on the Tuesday. So you went to the 8th Thursday,
Tuesday, right?
Tuesday. Gotcha. Okay. All right. Well, is there anything pressing that you guys would like to talk about? Because we of course we always like to open the floor to anybody who wants to say what's on their mind. So yeah, Andrea and Michelle, did you have anything big to talk about?
I have one small thing, and then
Sure.
if anybody has other things that they're free to go. I just wanted to share my new neck fan.
Ooh.
Oh, wow. Wow. How does
Yes.
that work? How does it work?
It has 5 different speeds, and you just put it on your neck and turn it on, and I can feel, and it goes all the way, the air comes out all the way around, and you can see it
Oh.
blowing my hair. It's in my face. But considering that it's 94 degrees today, just degrees, not feels like temperature,
Hmm.
um, I just wanted to share my my new summer
I
purchase
love it.
and
I
say how
love
much
that.
I love it.
Yes, okay, so I have two of those, but I always forget that I have them because I put them away.
I've done that multiple times this summer
Yeah.
too, but I'm trying to get in the habit of always having it with me in
Yeah.
the heat on hot days.
That's
Hmm.
honestly, I should just take them out and just put them out somewhere where I can see them because that's a great idea. I
Yeah.
love my nail pans. Like I have one that's fancier, like yours, and then another one that
Right.
has like just the two actual fans that blow
Hmm.
in your face and you can kind of like move them around. I love it. I love it when I remember it.
So,
Yes.
Andrea,
Yes.
is that something that you take with you outside, or is it just in the house?
Outside.
And
Outside. That's where it's hot.
and so if I wanted to look into it, it's called a neck fan, is it?
Mhm.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah, neck
And
fan.
I bought it on Amazon.
Mm.
So you can just search for neck fan or neck air conditioner,
Yeah,
Okay.
but neck
yeah,
fan is shorter.
yeah. And I
Hmm.
had
I
gotten my cheaper one at Five Below, so they have them there too. If I don't know if you have Five Below there, I'm sure
No.
Walmart has them too, or Target.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also just saw one. I just saw literally saw it 2 days ago on Local Steels here on a news show. And this they Cool Blades, I think is a company that a brand that carries it. So I was actually going to do that. I was going to go. They had it for like $59. I said, yeah, I need to get that because I'm trying to wait for my cooling vest. So
Yep.
Oh,
there you
that's
go.
nice.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, in the
yeah.
interim. But I mean, we're almost through the summer, and that's the crazy thing
Mhm.
about it. We're going to be approaching fall, in the Georgia, Atlanta. It's like, September, October, it's starting to get fall. It stays warm, but not as
Mhm.
obviously as warm as during the summer. So it's almost like, do I need to get it right now and just have it sitting here? But we'll
Well,
see.
often things go on sale at the end of the season, and then you
Oh,
have it
that's
for
true.
next year.
Good
True.
point. Good
Yeah,
point.
true.
Just a thought.
I don't know
Thank you.
how it is with you guys, but here in South Texas, the weather once it hits fall, it changes its mind so often. Like it'll be cool for a few days and then the next few days you have to wear shorts, and it's going to be really hot outside. So it's always that up and down. So and I think I even remember last Christmas, like Christmas Day, I was in shorts, shorts and
Yep.
a t-shirt
Wow.
because that's how warm it was. It was actually hot during
I can't
Christmas. So
Like
imagine.
that here too.
yeah,
We
yeah,
had
okay, too, yeah. So
we had last week it was like mid 70s and very low humidity, which is unusual in August in
mm,
North Carolina. I opened up all the windows in my house for like 3 days. It was bliss.
that's
And then now
amazing.
now it's in the mid 90s approaching 100. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that's crazy. I never get tired of talking about the weather because it's just always in your face.
Yeah.
I see that Louie logged on. Hello, Louie.
Hi, how are y'all?
Hey.
Just thought I would check in.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, would you like to give like a short little intro? I think we're just a little past the intros, but go ahead.
Yeah. It's a little late, but
You're good.
let's see. Yeah. So Lily, and I'm in San Antonio, and I'm on Ocrevus. Yeah. Diagnosed in November 2021,
Perfect.
and yeah, and don't need anything.
Do you need some time today?
No, I'm good. Yeah.
Cool. Cool. Perfect.
Just
Well, okay.
kind of sitting in. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Well, who else has something to say? Anything pressing? Blah blah blah. Otherwise, I'll go because I have a lot. Yeah,
Maybe you can go and we can just kind of,
yeah,
and
yeah,
what's the word I'm looking for? Anyway, you know what I mean. We can just,
yeah. Bounce off. Yeah, for sure.
yeah, follow the
Um,
conversation.
Piggyback
yeah.
off, piggyback.
Yes,
Piggyback.
that's it.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes,
Thank you,
piggyback.
Michelle. That's a good, yeah.
No
Well,
problem.
I feel like this whole summer has just been a blur. Like I was talking a little earlier before the recording started about how earlier in July, my grandpa passed away. And so ever since he passed away, I just feel like my days have just been so fleeting. Like it's like I wake up and suddenly the day's gone and I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened in the day. And I guess that's just kind of how grief works, like it just kind of goes in and out. But I don't know, this whole summer has just been a lot. And it's not just the heat. I feel like for me, even before my grandpa passed away, it's been doctor's visit after doctor's visit after doctor's visit. And I know that you guys understand how that feels, but I think there was a certain point where for maybe like 6 weeks straight or something, I had 1 to 2 doctor's visits every single week. It's a lot. So, getting tired of it.
Yeah.
Like I just recently had a diagnosis of ADHD. So I've been going back and forth to the psychologist and the psychologist, the PA who handles the what do you call it, the dosing, like the medication management. So I've been seeing him pretty often. Mostly it's been that, actually. Mostly it's been the psychological, mental health things that I've been trying to tackle, but along with physical therapy too. So, physical therapy for my neck and shoulders and my jaw, because every single day I wake up with pain or a headache or both. Lots of pain, lots of tension up here. And I know that it's because that's where I hold my tension. That's where I hold my stress. It's always in my back and my shoulders, my jaw. So it's just waking up with pain every single day, waking up with that headache. Sometimes it's a full-blown migraine that I wake up with. So I'm trying to manage that. And then I've also been going to physical therapy for pelvic floor dysfunction too, bladder stuff. That's fun. Um, so yeah, it's been a trip. And then I also got pink eye. I got COVID at
Hey,
some point. Y'all, I'm just listing off all my problems at this point. I got COVID. I got pink eye, and it's funny because the reason I got pink eye twice, okay, but the first time I got pink eye, it's funny, but I feel silly because I'm such a sucker for my cats. So I let her lick too close to my eye. So I got
oh,
the pink eye from my cat. You'd think I would know, but
Didn't
I'm a
even know
sucker.
that was possible.
Yeah, it's crazy because I let her lick my face,
Yeah.
uh and I felt the general conjunctivitis like symptoms maybe like a couple
Mhm.
hours later.
Oh,
Wow.
And
wow.
Yeah.
yeah, so honestly, I have been having a lot of problems with this eye ever since that, because it's just been, it's looking pretty good today, but it's been really really red and really dry. It's as if the infection went away after I finished my like several rounds of medication. I've had a lot of antibiotics for this one eye, but it doesn't always look like the infection's gone. My eyes are always pretty red because of it. So yeah, that's been a
Do you
lot.
think there's any connection to between that and the fact that you're taking a B cell depleting
Mm.
medication?
Yeah, I saw my neurologist last Monday, and she thinks that that might be the case actually. So she ordered some labs, which I had done, but I haven't had like the interpretation of the labs yet.
Right,
So I'll wait to see what she says, but she does think that that might be the case though, because Ocrevus, right? Like it is a B cell
right.
depleting medication,
Yes, it
so that's,
is.
and so it probably is why it's taking me longer to get rid of these infections. Um,
I had my annual physical today, and even my GP, he's not familiar with Ocrevus.
mm,
And he was, and he's like, so it's a B cell depleter, or are you considered immune compromised?
mm-hmm.
And I was like, I don't know that I've gotten a true good answer on that question. Like, whether it's Dr. Boster on YouTube or even the other doctor in Atlanta, the Shepherd Center on YouTube,
Mm,
or and they don't seem to be concerned about being immunocompromised. That's not
yeah,
something they
yeah,
stress.
yeah. And I had an interesting encounter with he's a primary care doctor that was in the clinic where my primary care doctor normally is, but he just wasn't in, so I had to go see him, the alternative. And funny enough, I went to that doctor because I accidentally stabbed my hand with a knife because I wasn't paying attention, silly me. So I went in to go see him for that. And he wasn't very concerned about the idea of being immunocompromised. And
Right,
I was kind of taken aback because I had gone in there with concerns about tetanus, even though I'm up to date, on all my shots, but you never know.
right,
Like what I was doing is I was cutting was it sunflower stems. So cutting the sunflower stems, and so I just stabbed my hand. So I was concerned about infection, but he was like, "Nah, you're fine." So it was probably
okay,
the shortest doctor visit I've ever had. So yeah,
interesting.
it does. I do wonder how much training some of these doctors have in infections and, I guess, immunocompromised individuals in general.
Right,
Yeah, because it's really just my neurologist, which is great. I'm glad she's on top of it. It's really just my neurologist that is being proactive about keeping track of my cell my what is it my immune system cells. So
right,
yeah,
right,
so I'm waiting to hear what her, I don't know, what her opinions are, because I think my next appointment is in like 2 months or so. But she clearly didn't seem, too concerned about it, about my eye, or any of these other
right.
concerns. You know, so yeah, it is interesting to think about what kind of training they go through and why they're not as proactive about trying to keep the infections away. So
You
anyway,
have to be your own advocate. I don't really
yeah,
trust them, and I do as much research because
yeah,
I told them one time, I said anybody can read an AMA journal. You're not excluded for that. So I do my own research myself. I know those other things that you're taking have those kind of contraindicators as far as side effects. That's why I didn't want to take them. It'll mess with my immune system. No, I'm not doing it.
Yeah,
So
yeah. No, you're totally right though. Like you do have to be your own. Actually, AnCan's slogan is "Be your own best advocate," but it's so true because
I'm sorry to know that. I did not know that. Wow.
yeah, it is. Yeah, but it's perfect timing.
That that whole thing really like irritates me beyond belief because I am going to a doctor because they have all 8 or more years of training on the human body and how it works, and I have zero. So, I should not be expected to go into doctors and tell them that they're wrong. I
Yeah,
mean, so, right? Like this advocacy thing. No, no, it's not on me. It's not on me that I spent 20 years not being diagnosed. I went to
Mm,
many, 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 many doctors. And I feel like this whole you have to advocate thing is trying to
hmm,
tell me that, oh, I didn't do the right thing for myself in trying to
mm,
deal with my MS. And I don't mean that
mm,
that's the way AnCan means it or anybody means it, but
hmm,
that's just kind of the way I take it.
hmm.
Does that, I'm
Yeah,
going to them because they're professionals and they
yeah,
should have
yeah.
an idea of what they're doing. And I don't. If I did, I wouldn't need you at all.
And
I
I
mean,
agree with you a
completely
thousand
agree.
percent.
Hmm.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
agree.
completely.
It's just that we all see right now a lot of things that we think are or they should be are not. So I guess I get
yes,
to the point where what are you going to rely on? You're going to trust them? I can tell you this from experience. 20 years ago, 15, 20 years ago, I had bronchitis. If I had gone anywhere in the public eye where I was going, I was hacking like I had TB. Nobody cared. I went to the VA. They said, "Here's some cough medicine." Wrong. You know what I had to do? I had to take it into my own hands. I did my research. I found a medicine that the Native Americans used to use in this country back in the day for bronchitis. I have never looked back. I found it. I found it cheaply in Australia because they want to try to overcharge you here, of course. In America, I said, buy. I've been buying it for 20 years and I don't cough at all. It coincidentally, it treats respiratory issues very seriously. And it's a known thing. Snake root. I went to the basics. I went back to the beginning before all this modernized medicine, and I looked at what the Indians used to use, and it's never failed me. So and my friends have actually started using it. They said they want it. We don't cough at all. I was hacking. I should have been locked up. Had I been coughing that way today, they would have thought I had COVID or something. I didn't cough ever
or
again. So I don't trust
COPD or
anyone.
something. Yeah,
Yeah, I don't trust anybody to tell me anything. I'm sorry. Yeah, you're right. They have the education, but I had a doctor even tell me this one time. He said we have to confer with the AMA journals. I said, well, if you can do that, why can't I do it? I can read. You ain't the only one that can read.
right,
So
right.
I agree with you, ma'am. You're right, Miss Andrea. We should. Operative word should be. It's not that way anymore.
You
Sorry.
mean we don't live in a utopia?
Yeah, we don't live. Wait. Oh yeah, what's the name of the damn show, the movie that was on? Oh, okay, the damn perfect little. Yeah, you're right. Utopia with Jim Carrey. That movie, the movie with Jim Carrey. Truman Show. We don't live in
Oh,
Truman Show.
oh,
No,
Truman
no, we're not in
Show,
Truman
Truman
Show.
Show.
We're not there.
When I was
Not
little,
not at
I
all.
couldn't imagine what that was
Well, I'm
like.
sorry to go on step up on my shoebox.
No, it's fine.
That
Yeah,
just
I
I do
understand.
completely agree
and
with you.
Michelle, like I feel like Western medicine has just said, oh, the old Chinese from thousands of years ago, they knew nothing. And all the American Indians, they knew nothing. They don't
Hmm.
know. They don't know what they're talking
Mm-hmm.
about, but we can make money with putting different chemicals together and charging people for
Bingo.
that. So,
Mm,
Bingo. That's what you defined it right there. American medicine is only one thing, business. And business is first in America. And it's only. So why would I trust that? No, I'm not doing that. So
I feel, yeah. Sorry, Michelle. Go ahead.
no, you go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, no, you're good.
This is interactive.
I tend to trust doctors who have a nice blend of both, personally, because I'm personally really happy that I am on a DMT because I was just progressing so fast,
Yeah.
whenever I'd gotten that diagnosis. So once I was able to get on my medication, I feel like I got better, so much better. Luckily, I'm so lucky. Um, but I also agree with you guys too. Like we shouldn't have to go to our doctors, and still feel confused about our predicaments. I feel like I personally tend to trust doctors more whenever they have a blend of the two, Western and Eastern medicine, because I did have a doctor that prescribed me some ashwagandha for anxiety, which helped a whole lot. At the time, it helped a whole lot. So, and there's also my current pelvic floor therapist. She's been prescribing me yoga. So yoga poses, very specific yoga poses that are tailored to me. So it's those things like that. It just seems intuitive to me to blend things like that, blend the Eastern with the Western. I feel like there's so much more that should be explored, that can be explored. And I feel like we're at a place right now where a lot of people are open to looking for different alternatives, and which personally I feel like that can be kind of dangerous. It's kind of a slippery slope. But again, that's why I tend to see if I can compromise with both sides of the issue. And I feel like
It's
that
called
word
balance.
compromise. Yes, yeah, that's a
Yeah,
very
and
good
I'm
word.
looking for that. I'm looking for gray.
Mhm.
I'm been an extremist, so you're
Yeah,
right. Balance in
yeah.
life is everything. So yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Balance in life. And that's so hard to do, which is probably why I have so much pain in my shoulders and my neck because I can't balance my issues. Yeah, it's just it's hard, especially when like you go to a doctor and they say, "Okay, come back again in 2 months for the same issue." Yeah, I
But
just
you did offer something that I was looking for because I was doing this on my own just to chime in. Yoga. I thought about this. I said, what can I
yeah,
do to
yeah.
maybe compromise my work with my spasticity? How can I get this better? And I said, you
Mhm.
know what? Let's think
Yoga
about
is
yoga. So I'm going to look
amazing.
into yoga and acupuncture. I'm looking into both of those.
Mhm.
So thank you for confirming what I thought. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah, of course, of course. Yeah, I feel like I'm ready to spill all the secrets that my physical therapists have told me because some of
So
it, uh-huh.
there's a couple of things I'd like to say. First of all, Michelle, I know acupuncture is available through the VA, so just be
Oh,
aware of that. Uh,
Really? Before I
yes,
go
okay.
drop money on it, thank you. Before I go drop some money, because
yeah,
wow, thank
Yeah,
you.
yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Because Dr. John, who I think you know from the vets group, he's in the vets
Mhm.
group. He comes into the vets group sometimes. He spent his career um, in the VA and as a pain addiction psychiatrist, and he actually
Mm.
practices acupuncture. But he's mentioned that it is available. So if you have any difficulty finding it at the VA, let us know, and then John will be happy to navigate you to tell you how to get it. I'll put you in direct contact with him. But he's mentioned before that it's available. Um, the second thing I wanted to say was really to sort of respond to Andrea, which is yes, um, we shouldn't have to need to advocate for ourselves, which is what Michelle said. The operative word is shouldn't, but we do. Why? Because the doctors aren't as well qualified as we would expect them to be, because sometimes they can't keep up on everything. But sometimes there are new um, uh, developments in our disease space which we need to bring to their attention. And if we want to get the best treatment, we've got to be willing to speak up and say, well, what about this or what about that? And I want to give you a real specific example, which I've been
Yeah.
dealing with in this sort of this swamp of crap that I've been wading through the last 2 weeks. So I have come across two people and a third who's about to have an appointment with a what's called a psychiatric nurse practitioner. And today, because there's such a shortage of therapists, if you ask for an appointment, a lot of times you are going to find that they'll refer you to a psychiatric nurse practitioner because they can prescribe. And we had a guy who recently needed to go through detox for an addiction to benzodiazepines, which are drugs like Xanax.
Yeah.
And the detox facility was staffed by a psychiatric nurse practitioner, although at the time we didn't know that. He was prescribed a particular drug, Wellbutrin, and then when he came out, he was referred to an outpatient, and the outpatient set up an appointment with another psychiatric nurse practitioner, and they re-prescribed Wellbutrin, and we knew that Wellbutrin was not a good drug for that person. The first reason being that Wellbutrin is an appetite suppressant, and this guy was about 5'10" and 132 pounds because he'd been on not just benzodiazepines, but amphetamines for a long time, and he just lost a huge amount of weight. So why would any medical professional give this guy a psychiatric drug that was going to suppress his appetite? Hello? And then I started looking at this more deeply, and I read I looked at the FDA drug insert. You all know what I mean by a drug insert. In Canada, it would be different, but there's an equivalent drug insert that comes in the package that has all the side effects and the contraindictions and
Yeah.
the this
Yeah.
and that.
We get
You know,
that.
you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And I look at the contraindictions, and it specifically says if you have abruptly stopped a benzodiazepine, do not prescribe Wellbutrin.
Ooh.
Right?
Yeah,
Now
why
it's
would he
it's
do
right
that?
there in black and white on the drug insert. And what are we dealing with? We're dealing with two psychiatric nurse practitioners, both of whom prescribed this drug. I guarantee they never looked at it. And so I was talking about this with our Alexa, one last week. And as I'm talking, she's looking up psychiatric nurse practitioner, and she's looking up the qualification. Now, if you're a nurse practitioner and you want to become a psychiatric nurse practitioner, because the whole bloody world needs psychiatric nurse practitioners right now, I'm going to ask anybody in this room to guess, or I may ask more than one. How many hours do you think of study you have to do to add being a psychiatric nurse practitioner onto your already nurse practitioner thing? How many hours? How many hours do you think, Andrea?
Andrea's
3.
holding.
3 hours.
Ooh,
Okay. Anybody else? How many hours to
Don't
become
know.
a psychiatric nurse practitioner?
5. I don't know.
I don't
Well,
know.
it's a little more than that. It's 45, which is a week.
Okay. Yeah,
And
yeah.
how the hell you can learn how to what a psychiatrist takes 10 years to learn and have the same prescribing rights as a psychiatrist in 45 hours
Yeah,
is beyond
yeah.
me.
Yeah, honestly, Rick, that's how my psychiatric facility does it as well. I had one visit with the actual psychiatrist, okay? And I get it. They're busy. Like you said, there's so much need for psychiatrists, but after that, I've only ever seen I don't know if he's a PA or a nurse practitioner. I forgot already, but he I I just it just blows my mind that my prescriptions are coming from somebody who hasn't had nearly as much of the training
Training,
that the doctor has.
right?
And that
So
that is
what?
something that I thought about when I first went in there the very first time and I met her. And he's a young guy. He's a young person,
Right.
around my age, and I'm like, how much training have you had? So far, so good. So far, so good. But at the same time, it's still one of those things where I have to look out for myself and really really pay attention to how these drugs are working and interacting. So
Well,
yeah, you
right. I
bring
mean,
great
but this is
points.
why I raise it with Andrea saying, well, why should we have to advocate for ourselves? Why?
Mm-hmm.
Because some of these people are not well trained and they don't even read the
I
bloody drug
understand
insert.
why. I
Mm-hmm.
understand why. It just irritates me that I have to.
Oh, yeah. It irritates all of us, but this is what we have
Right.
to make you aware that that you can't just take the doctor's word. I mean, or the
Mm-hmm.
medical health practitioner's word, because sometimes they don't know what they're doing. And here, by the way, these two nurse practitioners were in one was in Tucson and one was in Texas. One was in
Right.
Arizona and
They
one was in
weren't
Texas.
sitting
And
there
both of
talking to each
them,
other about it. Yeah.
Yeah.
right, they
Yeah.
hadn't discussed it. Neither of them knew that you should. And when I discussed it with
Right.
Dr. John, he said, no, of course you don't. You could stroke out. Imagine if this
Yep.
patient had stroked out and died. The type of lawsuit you'd have against them for prescribing a drug that is specifically contraindicated. Hello, Miss Carmen.
Hi, Carmen.
Hi, Carmen.
Hi. Hi, Carmen.
That's why, Rick, why pharmacists, I think, are so important. The pharmacist at my pharmacy where I pick up my drugs, like, you know, I- it's regular. Do you have any questions for the pharmacist? And even if I say no, but there's something strange about, he has a list of the drugs I'm on. Multiple times he's come to me and said, "No, you're on this drug, and you have to be careful about this with this drug that
Right,
I'm now prescribing to you." So
right.
my pharmacist is who I go to for drug questions because I feel like they're the drug professionals.
Experts. Yeah, they're the
So,
experts.
that raises another issue too. It's very interesting to me that the psychiatrists that I know, psychiatrists, I'm not talking about these quack nurse practitioners, but the psychiatrists I know are all very much on top of contraindications. And I think that's because that's a big part of their training, because a psychiatrist usually comes into a situation where a patient is on a bunch of drugs and then they've got to prescribe an overlay to those drugs. So they're trained, you've got to check the contraindications. But a lot of times, other doctors, like maybe
Right.
neurologists or oncologists, they don't
Or
think to
even a
look at
GP.
yeah, they don't think to check contraindications. Now, we've recently seen that there are certain supplements that really can interfere with your drugs. For example, American ginseng, which a lot of people take. It's a very good supplement. It can really have a lot of benefits for energy, but American ginseng interferes with a lot of regular drugs. So you've got to, if you want to use that American ginseng, you've got to check. Like, go to the Memorial Sloan Kettering website and check the contraindictions for American ginseng. Another thing we found out this week is that um, the drug for COVID, ritonavir. What's the other name for it? Begins with a P. The
Paxlovid?
Paxlovid.
Paxlovid.
Yeah,
Pax.
Pax,
Paxlovid. Yeah.
Paxlovid has significant drug interactions. And if you get COVID and you want to, and the doc says Paxlovid, make sure they check it against everything that you're taking.
Mm-hmm.
That's
And
really interesting, Rick. When I caught COVID, I called the urgent care to see is there anything they can do, if or do I just need to wait it out? Like, do I need to bother coming in? And, I mentioned Paxlovid, and they said at urgent care they won't even prescribe it because you have to have follow-up visits with your doctor. So you have to go to your GP to get Paxlovid.
Right,
Really?
right. And hope he checks to make sure you're not on anything that you can't be taking with it. I mean,
Right.
uh, there's a for prostate cancer there is now a tablet that you can take, and it's also used for women's conditions too, that um, suppresses your androgens, your testosterone or your estrogen. That drug is concentrated by a factor of 4 by Paxlovid. So that if you're on that drug, it's called Orgovyx or Relugolix. The Your blood concentration of that drug can increase by as much as 4 times if it's taken with Paxlovid. Who
Oh,
knew?
wow.
Who
Right.
knew? But do our doctors check that? Well, a lot of psychiatrists do because that's in their training. But a lot of
Right.
other doctors don't even check that. And so,
Yep.
what's our job at AnCan? It is to make sure you are aware of contraindications, either from other
Mm-hmm.
drugs, either from supplements. There's all kinds of different things. Sorry, I'll
You're
get off,
absolutely right.
Andrea. I'll get off the same soapbox you were on.
Right, right. Yeah. I've got so many soapboxes that I can get up on. I tend to like soapboxes.
What's going on with Miss Carmen? Tell us. Look
Yeah,
at that beautiful
Carmen.
red. What's that red, beautiful red thing you've got around your shoulders? It's very nice color.
Right. Oh, we can't hear you, Carmen.
We can't
Yeah.
hear you. I bet you need to select. No, I bet you need to select that microphone on your headphone in the options. So you'll need to go up to the settings and make sure that it's picking up the microphone in your headphone.
Yeah. Because
Okay,
you're not muted, so it's
you're
probably
not
something
muted.
with settings. Yeah. We can come back to you, Carmen. Yeah. Okay.
We'll come back to you in a second. A lot of times, what we see is people come in on headphones, and they don't adjust. When I go to Microsoft Teams, I always have to switch my
Can you hear me
microphone.
now?
Oh,
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah. There.
Hi.
Yay.
Hey,
That's
Carmen.
weird. It's never done that before. Anyway, hi. I'm just wearing a red fleecy. It's my Canadian sweater. No, I'm just kidding.
okay.
It is a
I
beautiful
actually,
Canadian color, yes.
yes, thank you. Just, have to throw that sweater over your shoulders because there's,
Oh no, you're.
Oh, we lost you
yeah,
again.
it's just my line. It's just, a little
Oh,
fussy. Anyway, I
Well,
Okay.
only
Carmen,
just signed in. Oh, yeah?
Carmen, I was going to say next time I'll be wearing something red.
Oh, okay. Good. I just signed in quickly to say hi. It's a busy day again, and I just have other stuff going on, but I just wanted to see your happy, smiley faces.
Yay.
well, we're happy to see you.
Good to
Yes.
see you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Everyone good?
yeah.
Yeah.
Everyone
Yeah.
doing good? Yeah?
Yeah. For
Yeah.
the most
Yep.
part, yeah.
How
Listing
about
off our
you?
complaints.
Yeah,
How about
I'm getting by. The weather is nice, so it's been good to be able to be outside and doing lots of things.
Yep.
Man, sorry, sorry, gotta hold it steady. I'll just hold it steady like this now. Anyway, it's
Finicky.
just nice to be out doing stuff in the yard and not melting and not freezing yet. So, yeah, I've been overdoing it regularly. So, my c'est la vie. Went hard the other day,
Yep.
still kind of paying for it today.
Yep.
You know
But
how
I did a
that
well?
feels.
great job grooming my tree. Oh my God, you guys, I've got this power chair now that lifts and tilts and all this stuff. So I was
Wow.
out
Nice.
underneath my tree and
Cool.
lifted it as high as it could go. I had these big long shears and pruned the shit out of this tree like
Oh,
you have never seen. I
wow.
was so proud of myself. Oh my God. It's the one and only tree I can get to because it's like got this paving, like this stone thing around it. Our other trees are all surrounded by like crushed rock, so I can't get at them. I'll have to tell my husband what to do, which he's not so good at following my directions
That,
sometimes.
that's,
But
Yeah,
that sounds
mm-hmm,
very therapeutic.
it
mm-hmm,
does.
Yeah, it
mm-hmm.
does.
I
It
should have
just
taken
takes,
it
Empowering.
before. I should have taken a before picture, but I'm going to show you. I mean, honestly, my green bin was over half full. It's unbelievable. It's a beautiful tree. Let me show you.
Wow.
Oh,
Uh, yeah, I think maybe
just a
if you
sec.
hold, there we go. A little bit further back.
Too far? Oh, I can't get it just right.
Hard to see. You
What
can
type
see a
of
little
tree
bit.
is it? Is it a
It's
Yep.
a honey.
maple tree?
No, it's a honey locust.
It's a honey
Oh,
locust. Okay.
Shoot, you can't
huh.
really see it. Just a second. Here. Is that better?
Back up a
Oh,
little. Back up. Oh,
Yeah, we can see a
oh.
little bit.
wow.
Yeah. It's blurry, but we can see the general gist of it.
Let me tell you, it looked like this before.
Oh,
Not a
okay.
good.
Wow.
All
Anyway,
weighed down. Yep.
oh yeah, like
You could,
twisted 7 foot long things coming off of it. Like, oh man, it
wow.
needed a big haircut. So, but yeah, I mean, I do that on top of going to my sister's house, playing with my nephews, walking up like 17 like steep stairs. Oh my gosh, it was really a crazy day. So I deserve to pay for it. I'm so stupid. You'd think I'd learn, but you
no,
feel
Man.
good, you just go.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
How was
That's
the
how I am
balance
too.
in your chair
Awesome.
when you it was, huh? Stable.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, it's a really stable. I mean, I can't move around fast, but doesn't matter. So every time I had to, change position, I either had to creep slowly around the tree or go all the way down slowly and then move and then go all the way up slowly. But whatever, it doesn't matter. I could get everywhere. It was awesome.
Nice.
That is
That's
so
so nice.
cool.
Yep. You
So
got to be in a
Carmen,
wheelchair. At least you got to, if you have to be in a wheelchair, then at least I can enjoy it, whatever. I don't know what I
Yeah.
was trying to say there.
Yeah.
I just wanted to come back to what you were saying about doing too much. And my motto is you can't, you can't have too much fun on good days. But
Mm,
boy, it's really hard to, when you're feeling a little bit better, it's really hard to set boundaries, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
totally.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
Totally. My
yeah,
husband is
I went
regularly
to,
saying, "Oh, you overdid it, eh?" I'm like, "Yep, but
yeah,
that doesn't take much." So,
Yeah.
it doesn't. I went to visit my mom in Michigan. So I had a layover. On the way there, it was in Detroit. On the way back, it was in Nashville. I had requested a wheelchair for transfer from planes. Um, and both on the way there and on the way back, no wheelchair was there for me. And the planes came in late, so I had to huff it from one terminal to another. Both airports. By the time I got home, it took me at least 10 days to
yeah,
get back to feeling normal.
mm,
yeah, yeah,
10 days.
the
That's a
price
lot.
we pay, hey?
Yeah.
yeah. That's
It's,
the way it
yeah.
is, right? It's just that's what we have to work with. But after 33 years, I still don't have it down path,
Oh,
It's
then I
just
have no hope, Louise. Oh my God.
I'm just
I'm with
glad
you,
to
Louise.
hear.
Like I keep trying. Like, okay, this time I'm not gonna let that happen, and it does.
Yeah.
Or I
Same.
pull myself out of too many things, and I don't have as much fun as I want. And
Mm-hmm. And then
Yeah.
you have
it's like
FOMO.
it's like politics. You get a choice of two bad options.
Well,
Which
hopefully you
bad
guys think
option
there's
are
a
you
better
Yeah,
option now.
it's about who you don't want more. I told my brother this, who's
Yeah.
fanatic. I said, no election is about who you want; it's about who you don't want more.
Right.
That's seems like how the elections
That's
are.
good
As I don't want,
too.
I hate you,
Yeah.
I hate you. So
Yeah,
But
I
I want to come
I
back
didn't
to
mean to bring
Andrea.
politics in. We're
Yeah,
not
Right,
going there, but
yeah, we're not going there. Stop
comparison.
that. Yes,
right.
that
I,
cat.
I want to come back to Andrea because I want to compliment you that you were willing and smart enough to ask for a wheelchair. We've been dealing with a situation with someone recently where they can barely walk, but they don't acknowledge that they are compromised and they won't get a wheelchair. I mean, I don't even think they're going to make it to the gate.
Right.
And you know their ego won't let them get a wheelchair and so for you to say yes, I ordered a wheelchair is like music to our ears because we advocate this is what you got to do.
and there's no
Right.
shame in that either. It's
No,
No,
wheelchair. It's okay. Yeah,
it's
yeah,
not good
Rick.
when there's nobody there. And
Yeah.
by the time, like, I'm standing there and the guy at the desk, I'm like, so there were three of us that need a wheelchairs. The other two ladies left because we landed half an hour late. And so we had a short period of time to get to a gate to and that was across
yeah,
the airport. It wasn't just down the terminal, it was a whole different terminal. And he gets on the phone and starts bitching at somebody about you're supposed to have a wheelchair and the customer's staring at me and why isn't there a wheelchair here? And finally I'm just like, you know what? I got to make my plane. And I turned around and I ran across the airport, and in Detroit I get there and they're just starting to shut the door. And I'm like walking with my cane as fast as I possibly can. And I'm like, please wait, please. And she just looks at me. She's like, well, come on then.
Wow.
You have it.
hello.
I'm like,
Pain.
Wow.
I am
Pain.
literally going as fast as I possibly can. So I get through the door and I got down to the plane, and the lady kind of looked at me and she's like, are you okay? And I just normally I would say, "Oh yeah, I'm fine, no worries. Don't bother me. I don't want to be a prop." But I was so livid. I started crying because I have pseudobulbar affect. It's easy to cry. And so I'm just like, so she's like, she took my arm and started walking me down the aisle of the plane. I'm like, that's just making it worse because the
Oh,
aisle is so small. And I had a pretty upfront seat, and she said, "Would you like some water?" I'm like, "Yeah." So yeah, she gave me water, whoop-de-doo. But
At
I mean, it
least
was only
someone
a
cared.
30-minute flight from Detroit to Grand Rapids, so it was no problem. But ugh, it was I did the opposite of my normal in both cases. And the lady that was at the gate in Nashville, she looked at me and she says, I think that's an ADA issue. And she went and reported it to her supervisor. So I was very happy about
okay,
that.
good,
Oh,
good.
it is. That's
But
that's what I was thinking. That's
Right.
exactly what I was thinking. That's ADA violation. You can sue 'em.
Mhm.
yep, yep,
I'm sorry. Fact.
yep, yep.
Yeah, that's a lot. I bet you
So
were
it's just
tired for days.
travel has just gotten so hard these days. I mean, ugh.
Do you like
And
trains? Because I think if I had to travel, I don't trust people. Like I mean, I'm sorry that that happened to you, but I'm like kind of big on like Amtrak cars now. I would just go get a sleeper car. I mean, I can afford it now, and so I wouldn't even trust a plane. What you went through, I would not even trust it because I know who people are. I'm sorry, I don't have faith in my fellow man. I really don't. So I try to always prepare for myself and plan to take care of myself. Even, I mean, in the worst of situations, I expect that we're going to have to do that. I hate for people to understand, learn the hard way about that, but you know, it is what it is. I mean, we're just a resource poor society. We just don't have enough of the right people in the right places, and we don't. The resources are not there. And I've had people tell me that they've acknowledged what I already knew. Yeah, you're right. I know I'm right. I see it. You don't have to tell me. I see it. So I mean, I'm sorry that that happened. I mean, it's horrifying. Sorry.
Well, it all turned out fine, and I just, added a small amount of drama to it,
Mm.
It's
just to
it's
You
make
the
so
it fun.
customer.
stressful though.
You
It's
the
so stressful
customer.
though.
You,
'Cause
Right.
yeah.
So,
Yeah.
More important, Andrea, how was the visit with your mom? How did that
oh, it
go?
was amazing. It was wonderful. Yeah, we went to Mackinac Island for a few days, which is
Excellent. I heard about, yes, that's awesome.
yes,
Yeah.
it was so much fun. It was beautiful. Yeah, we had a wonderful time.
Hmm.
That's
How
good.
long were you there?
A week.
A week. Oh, okay, that's a good amount of time. Cool.
How often do you get to see her,
Yeah, I
Andrea?
scheduled the trip before I knew that I was going to be laid off and have all
Mm.
the time in the world. But at the same time, honestly, a week was long enough.
Yeah, yeah.
I try to live by a 4-day rule, but mom says you're never here long enough. So for mom, I agreed to a week and I was very happy to get home.
Sounds like exactly what my mom would say. Again. I mean, she lives in the same city, but still. She gets mad at me when I don't call her after 3 days.
Right.
Sorry, mom.
Mm.
Yeah, traveling is so stressful though. Like,
It is. Just
I,
in general, much less having issues like that. Yeah.
yeah,
Mm.
yeah, I'm so lucky that I don't get quite as tired as I used to. But it just depends on the airport. Like, it depends on the layout, like how many
Yep.
people are in my face. I don't
Yep.
know if you guys feel this way, but I have like this issue where if too many things are moving around me, too many people, crowds, I get so dizzy and I will just very suddenly, as if like a switch was flipped, I'll get so tired and have
Yeah,
to sit
Right.
down and just lose all strength. It just happens so fast. So it's one of those things where I don't know what I'm gonna get at.
yeah.
So
I get sensory overload if there's too much
Yes,
of
it,
anything.
yes.
yes,
Hmm.
yes.
If there's a radio and a TV on, I can't stand it.
Mhm.
If the just
Mm-hmm.
just too much of anything is rough.
Yeah, I'm the same way. Yeah, I'm the same way with TVs too, or just like electronics or screens too. It's funny because my boyfriend and the kids are all gamers, so they're gamers and they all have their like lots of devices, plenty of screens. They like their kids, so they like to watch YouTube and TV, and so does the boyfriend. So I keep fighting with him, not really fighting with him, but kind of playfully. He wants to put like another, like a smaller TV monitor in our dining room area, except we already have a TV monitor on the other side of the dining room area, which is across from the living room, which has the big
Mhm.
TV. So it's like, I can't handle that.
Right.
He doesn't
No,
understand.
I'm
He doesn't understand like
no,
how much it doesn't hurt me, but it's not okay for all these screens to be
it's
on at the same.
disorienting. It's just
Yeah,
disorienting, and
disorienting. It is.
it's like not
Yeah.
only can I not focus on something, but it's like my brain is trying to focus on everything, and I can't take all that in.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yeah, that's what it
I'm
is.
really appreciating this conversation because this is what I've been experiencing. And of course, I tend to think that I'm the only one that,
Nope.
but
Yeah,
this,
yeah.
and what happens to me is that my walking, I just can barely walk when there's just too much. And so, Andrea, being in an airport, I just can't take it. I get so stupid. I can't
Yep.
find my way around. There's just too much information
Mhm.
and too many people,
Yeah, yeah.
and everything moves like really, really fast. So,
Yeah, I
and
I always pay attention to like the gates that I'm going to land in and
Mhm.
which airports. So I know which gate I have to be at also and how much time I have. So I like to think ahead of time, sort of have like a plan in my head.
Mhm.
That way, if I if I feel like I need a wheelchair because of how spread apart the gates are, and because
Hmm.
of which airport it is specifically, then I'll request a wheelchair ahead of time. But if if it's close together, then it doesn't matter to me. I don't have to request a wheelchair. But um, it's that planning that takes a little bit of time, but it's necessary if you're, at least for me, it's necessary if I'm going to be able to like resume whatever I'm doing on that trip.
So you need to know where you're
The
going
key
before
words,
you leave, right?
Yeah, and I think I'm familiar enough with the airports to know like which ones I don't like and which ones are uh too crowded or too big. Um
right,
yeah, like because some are really small, like San Antonio airport's no big deal. It's really small. But
right.
airports like, I don't know, Atlanta,
Dallas is nothing.
Dallas,
Yeah.
yes, horrible, horrible airports. So I always like to look ahead of time at what's going on.
Right.
But I mean, that's
Louis,
everything with ever since I was diagnosed with MS or started learning how to deal with all this stuff. That's the key thing right there, right? Like
Yeah.
pre-planning. I was never a pre-planner. I was never a planner. I was never one to put together an itinerary. I was a very, we'll make it work and, we'll have a great time doing it and we'll figure out anything we need to figure out when we need to figure it out. And now I
Yep.
can't live that way anymore.
Yep.
yeah.
And it's weird.
Louis, what's your experience been in with traveling with MS?
It's definitely challenging. It's it's challenging because we don't we look fine, and I ride the MS 150, and how can someone who does that need to pre-board? So that's challenging, but I've come to terms with, I don't need to make myself miserable so that someone else can feel better.
Yeah,
That's
So,
yeah,
right. Yeah, that's
yeah.
a good way to put it.
so
Mhm.
Yeah.
I I do pre-board, and it does make it a lot easier because I get to enjoy the vacations better and gives me more spoons throughout the day. And when I arrive, maybe I'm not as exhausted, or on the plane, I'm not being
Mhm.
shoved by other people. So it's one little thing, and the airplanes aren't even wheelchair accessible. So the least they
Mhm.
could do is let us on first. So that's my take on it. And yeah,
Mhm.
um, it's hard it can be challenging to get pre-boarding, but what I've learned through recent meetings here and through research is you have to declare you're disabled. And once you do that, it's federal law. So it's like if you give wiggle room to these, I don't mean to be us versus them, but if you give wiggle room to some of the airline workers, they might kind of try to gatekeep this
Mhm.
pre-boarding stuff. But once you just declare a disability, that's kind of like the end of the game, and they have
Yep.
to provide that. But if you request pre-boarding but not say you're disabled or you have a disability, they can they can wiggle around that and kind of
That's
counter things.
Yeah, that's really good advice too.
Hmm.
So when you say declare disability, do you mean like when you check in, for example, and I know that you can go onto the app and sort of do some things like that. Is that what you mean, or can you be a little more specific about
Yeah,
that?
so I normally fly with Southwest, and when you buy your tickets, there's some things that you could put that you need, like
Mm.
accommodations. I don't know that that really does anything. Like every time I've tried, they still make you talk to someone at the check-in counter. And so when you do that, that's where you get designated for pre-boarding. And so that's how you do it through them. And I've done it where I've tried to do it and like the check-in person won't give it to me, but the person at the gate did. And then they reissued me a, a new boarding pass with a pre-boarding. Where like I've flown with United before. And I really like that because I did the same thing. I went up to them and I said, "Hey, like I need pre-boarding. Is this something that y'all need to print on my boarding pass?" And they said, "No, you literally just get on the plane when we make the announcement for those who need to pre-board. You walk up and you get on the plane." And I really
Yeah,
like
they're
that.
not going to really question you about it, right?
Yeah.
But like on Southwest, you have to have it printed on your boarding pass or you won't be allowed to board. So that's like you won't be allowed to pre-board. So
Interesting.
that's a
Okay.
little like
Yeah.
scary.
Yeah.
When I got on the first plane in, I don't like to pre-board because I don't like to be on the plane for very long. I don't like to have to sit there and wait for other people to board. So I prefer to be like the last person who gets on, depending on where my seat. If my seat is, in the back of the plane, that's, I get on earlier. But um the Delta agent, when I was getting on the airplane, because I had my cane with me, and he looked at me and he's like, "You were supposed to board during pre-boarding." I was like, "Huh?" He was like, "You can board for pre-boarding. You can get on." I was like, "Okay, I'll remember that the next time."
The nerve. These people.
But
Yeah.
Not
Louis,
everybody, yeah, everybody just has the way they prefer to do it. But if, yeah, if
Yeah.
if you need the time and want the time, again, it's advocating not just with the medical community, it's advocating for yourself everywhere you go.
Hmm. Yeah. Very true.
I wanted to
And
say
knowing and
too,
understanding a lot of the ADA, at least in the United States, the ADA laws, like Louis was talking about, if you tell them that I'm disabled, um, they really can't judge, like they can't counter you on that, right? They can't say, no, you're not.
Yeah. Yeah. They can't challenge you. Louise, what were you
Right.
gonna say?
well, I was going to say to Louis, I really appreciate what you said in the beginning. Why should you make yourself miserable to make somebody else feel good? Um, Somehow I
Yeah.
really took that in, and I really appreciate that.
Thanks, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's a good
Yeah.
way to
there's
put it.
there's a lot of like resentment towards sometimes that I see towards people who pre-board, but yeah, it can be hard, but I just like
Sure.
I just block it out, and
Mm.
it
Yeah.
feels really nice to just get on and not, you know, like it is really exhausting traveling, so it's nice to just make one thing easier. I like to, I like to like save spoons and cut as many.
Oh, we lost
My
Louie's
day.
voice.
Can y'all hear me?
Now we
Yeah.
can.
Yeah, now I can.
Oh,
Yeah.
Now.
oh, I just said like I
But you
like
were
to.
saving spoons to be able
Mm,
to make it through your day, I think is
mm,
what you
yeah,
said.
yeah, pretty much. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Hmm.
We have a screen, Lou, like just
Louise,
LOU.
is that
Is
another
that?
screen for you? I feel like it lights up when you talk.
Yeah. That's what I
Let
was.
me
I was
say
wondering.
something. Let me say something. See,
Uh.
no?
Yep.
Is there another
See how it
screen?
lights up when she
Yeah.
talks?
Yeah, it.
But her picture doesn't light up, but the audio does
Oh,
under
I
Lou, so
see.
it's weird.
Okay.
Yeah, that can happen sometimes. Hannah, just excuse the one without her picture and it'll be fine.
Okay. I didn't know if we had another person or not, but now I know it's Louise.
That's interesting because I
Uh,
can't see it. I don't see that here.
Interesting. Okay.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's all
I
right.
have a question for Louise.
Hmm.
You said that you had the trigeminal neuralgia,
I did have.
and how did you say you did, you no longer do. How did you get rid of it?
Well, that's very interesting question. I first of all, I had a very intense experience with trigeminal neuralgia. It was extremely, extremely painful. I had it for 15 years, and I was taking Tegretol. And there's Tegretol, there's a lot of side effects, but it was really helping me with the pain of the trigeminal. Now, how I got rid of it, you know what? I don't know. What I did is I immediately went on a anti-inflammatory diet, and I did some. I got into doing a lot of meditation. I moved to Nova Scotia. I didn't move to Nova Scotia because of my situation. It's just something that we decided to do in our life. So I live in an environment where it's very quiet. And then I don't know, I just intuitively thought, I don't think I need this medication anymore because when I was taking it, I had to take it every 8 hours. And I knew my body was telling me when it was time to take it. So I even can't answer that myself as to how I got rid of it, but it is extremely painful. And I was
I
starting to
have a
say,
friend.
go
Yeah, go
ahead.
ahead.
Go. No,
I
no,
have
I
a
was,
friend in Colorado who's got that, and he was taking so many drugs. I mean, his speech was slurring when I would talk to him on the phone. He could barely stand up. Not that he can stand up very well anyway, but I mean, it was really, and so he had the, what is it, like the gamma ray? Um, I don't know. They go in and it's like
he had
they
like a
put
surgery
things
for it.
right, and it's not, doesn't seem to be really helping him.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
and they
Wow.
said it may or may not work, and it's been 6 months now, and it's still not working for him. So I was just wondering if you had any thoughts for what I could, suggest to him, because it's
Well,
he,
when
yeah,
when I was working, my boss had trigeminal neuralgia and he had surgery. And what they did is they wrapped something around the nerve, and it worked really well for him. And then I had
okay,
another friend like years ago who I think she still has trigeminal, but she had surgery, it didn't work. She's allergic to all sorts of medication, and it's just very excruciating. So I think it works. The surgery works for some people and not for others, but
right,
if I was to guess what worked for me, I think it's the anti-inflammatory diet because the woman that I was talking to, I was saying that I had pain, and this woman is a nutritionist, and she said something that really really triggered this thought for me is that pain is inflammation, and so I thought, okay, that's so I don't know if I've answered this question, but really I don't have a clarity as to how I got rid of it, but it's gone.
That's
Yeah.
okay.
interesting,
So
though.
there's hope
Pain,
for him one way or another. Thank you, Louise.
Okay.
yeah. Pain is inflammation, though. That's really interesting to think
Isn't
of it
that
that way.
interesting? Yeah.
It is.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like that's something I need to think about too myself because I did go on like was it the Walls protocol, I think, whenever I was first diagnosed with MS, and that was great. I felt good doing that, and it did teach me a lot about just eating healthy in general. I never kept up with it though, you know, and I feel like
Yeah,
the more pain I have and the more pain I'm waking up with and dealing with, the more I feel like I need to revisit that again and uh, probably implement the entire Walls Protocol diet again just to see how I do with the pain. So that's a really interesting way to think about it. And you said you went on an anti-inflammatory diet, is that right?
that's right. Yeah. So no processed food. Um, what else? Boy, I've been doing this for such a long time. I can't remember what what
All the
my changes
rules.
were.
Yeah, all
Yeah,
the rules, yeah.
yeah. No, well, I know that no processed food, and
No sugar.
yeah, I'm both my sister and I have well, we have symptoms of an early allergic reaction to sugar. I haven't had
Huh,
sugar for most of my life. Even when I was a kid, I would get sick. Of course, when you're a kid, you eat a lot of sugar, but I
Right.
was sick. So, but science hasn't come up with uh, a test for sugar as an allergy.
Allergen. Right.
But I've had a hard time giving up bread. I felt like I
mm.
was giving up heroin, you know. But
It is
sugar
good.
makes me sick, so that's never been a problem.
Mm.
I see. Yeah.
I'm a sucker for like fresh made bread too.
Yeah.
Good.
Oh boy, that was hard. That was
Ooh.
so hard to
I don't
stop
know if
eating
I could.
bread. Yeah.
I don't know if I could do that.
I'm trying to
uh,
think of a meal when I don't eat bread.
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So I don't know how to explain my anti-inflammatory diet because I've been doing it for over, I don't know, for over 20
Mm.
years. Like, well, 30, I started 33 years ago, and yeah.
It was hard for me to keep up with the Walls Protocol just in general because um, living in South Texas, Tex-Mex is just a part of of life here.
Yeah.
And so like it's just so hard to stay away from the tacos, the what else we eat a lot. We eat a lot with gluten and sugar and cheeses. And I did learn to stay away from dairy. There was a really long portion of time where I was completely dairy free, and that was great. I felt like my symptoms had receded a little bit, gotten a little bit more manageable, taking out dairy. But there's just there's so much of my culture that I felt was being taken out whenever I was eating on the Walls protocol.
Yeah.
Um,
Right.
like anything my mom would make, anything my grandma would make, my family would make would be totally against the Walls protocol. So I had to just
Hmm.
kind of figure out how to incorporate those same spices and flavors into whatever I was eating, which didn't always go well, but I tried. And
Yeah.
so yeah,
I think
that's
that I did the Walls protocol for a while, and what didn't work for me, it's like it's somebody else's prescription. And I mean, I know that it works
yeah.
for some people, but for me, it's just doing my own research and
Mm-hmm.
deciding what works for me and what doesn't. And
Yeah.
I've never been able to follow diets or I've
Yeah.
done Weight Watchers so many times, and yeah,
Yeah, and you're right. It is about like following, like literally following your gut. Like that's that's how I was able to sort of tailor the that diet towards myself to where it wasn't really the Walls protocol anymore, but I felt good,
right,
like
yeah,
literally listening to my gut.
yeah,
And the
Um,
thing about diets is that dieting is bad, right?
yes.
You need
True.
to take those principles and make it a lifestyle, not a diet.
yeah,
Yes. Yes, very
yeah.
true.
I remember doing well, doing a diet with a friend of mine, and I had lost 20 pounds, and she said to me, "Wow, you look really good." But I felt sick. I felt like I
Mm,
was, every
you
time I
did.
get up, I would pass out. I just wasn't eating right. So dieting, I don't know. Dieting it worked for me because I lost 20 pounds, but I
Mhm.
was really hurting myself.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Well, I don't know about the rest of you, but I know somewhere along the line I read that it read on either an MS page or one of the organizational pages that said gluten was not, it did not work well with MS for whatever reason.
Mm,
That's what I read. And I was already doing that. But now I'm surrounded by people who are like the experts in my life support system who, when people feel a certain kind of way about something, of course they're going to be adamantly opposed to what you're doing. They're okay with eating wheat. I'm not. And they feel like I'm overdoing it. But I'm like, well, that's what I read. So
yes.
why is it, I don't know about how you guys have dealt with that. I mean, have you ever
Yeah.
heard that gluten not good, gluten bad?
Yes,
Yeah.
I
Michelle.
have.
Oops. Yeah, I
Yeah.
have.
No, go
Okay.
ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead, Louise. You're good.
No, no, I was just going to say I just stopped eating gluten a couple of weeks ago, and Michelle, you're right. I feel so much better, and
Thank you. Thank
that's
you.
what I want to say for now. Just give somebody
Yeah.
else a chance.
No, I have a friend who she says that she completely cut out gluten from her life because she feels almost an immediate reaction. And she's not celiac. She's been tested, for that, but
Hmm.
she's very sensitive to gluten. She feels like her MS symptoms become so much worse whenever she eats anything with gluten.
Yeah,
So, and it, and
Oh my God. Wow.
I've heard one other person who also has a gluten sensitivity where her MS comes back as well. I've personally never felt that way, but for me it's dairy though. Like for me it's just been strictly dairy.
Okay.
But yeah, it's one of those things where a lot of people have said that. A lot of people with MS, if they cut gluten out of their diet, they will feel a whole lot better. So it's
Hmm.
again one of those things where you could try it and just sort of see how it works for you. Um, yeah, for me personally, I love bread too much, like like Louise, I love
yeah,
bread. But at the same time, it doesn't really hurt me specifically, so I can eat
Right.
gluten. But yeah, it's a
Okay.
lot of it, like I said, is about trying it out and seeing how it makes you feel.
it doesn't take
Cool.
long to know if it's going to work. Like just
Hmm.
3 days, and you know if
Hmm.
the gluten is good for you or not good for you.
Hmm.
The other
And
thing I
Michelle,
wanted to go ahead.
well, I wanted to go back to Michelle's point of, um, like other people's opinions, kind of saying, "Oh,
Hmm.
what's going on? Why aren't you eating my food? Why aren't you eating this thing?"
And it's bad when you live with a person. My roommate,
Yeah,
my
yeah,
cousin, and she has a friend who has MS as well, and she eats gluten. She eats what, and she's fine. Well, I said she has we have different
hmm,
types, but it's like she gets so enraged about it. It's like she's a combat vet, never got tested, yeah, treated for PTSD, which she says she has. So I said, why don't you leave me alone? Stop doing that. Don't make it about me. Just about you. Make it about me. It's what
hmm.
my body wants. But it's unfortunate. I'm in the situation I'm in. I'm trying to get out of it.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, that
Well, it's
is really
just like
hard.
everything with MS, it's
Yeah,
different for everybody.
That's right. Yeah.
mm-hmm.
true.
And
Yeah.
energy shifts also, like the energy that, some days I think I don't care,
Hmm.
and then I regret it. Then the next day I care, and then, it's
Yeah.
just, it shifts. But I wanted to ask what about drinking coffee? Does that interfere?
Oh, that's funny
A
you should
little.
mention that because my doctor at one point, well, the doctors told me to I see things in an extreme. When I hear somebody say don't, I think that means everything. Don't do it. They didn't say that. My incontinent doctor said I didn't say that, and I had to look at my notes. She said limit it. So I took it to the extreme. I heard I can't. So one of the things that I do like, but I try to monitor that as we talk about balance. is I like this Vietnamese coffee. In fact, I just commented to somebody the other day. They were talking about coffee. It's a type of espresso, but it's instant. I know a lot of people don't like instant coffee, but I found that for me, I like it. I used to use it to keep me up when I was still kind of working part time. It would get go. I could go bonkers off of it without having to get actual espresso. But I never thought of it. That, how does it react? I know it causes other things that I don't like to deal with sometimes if I overdo it, and I can be an extremist. So I had to find that gray matter, that gray in life, and stop being overboard with everything. If I drink the doggone thing, it's called Vina Cafe. If I drink it, only don't drink 2 and 3 packets. Drink 1 packet. That's enough. Because
Yeah.
I would, we're our own worst enemy sometimes. That's the
Yeah.
way it is. And so I had to kind of like put the brakes on myself. Just have one, not two. And my doctor said, don't drink it every day. So sometimes I'll drink it on Sunday, once a week. I try to do what she said, be
Yeah.
in moderation of everything. But I never felt like it interfered with my MS, or if it caused, the only thing I really have problems with is the spasticity. And like I said, I've had this for 17 years and I was still playing football. So obviously something triggered it to get worse. And this has been in the last 3 years. But I can attribute that to what they say, stress. I've been in a very stressful situation. For me, I know the person gets upset when I say this, but homeless means I don't have my own domicile. I'm housed, but it's still a lot of friction. And I really don't need that because that makes everything worse. MS is driven by stress. I don't need that. I don't need to be in somebody else's existence or in their environment where they feel like they can dictate to me, even though I'm paying and I know I have to be cognizant, but I'd rather just be in my own space like I was when I was still, on my working in my own
Yeah.
space. I don't really care to be in somebody else's space at this point because I'm grown and you're grown and I don't need that. And I don't need you feeling bad about me and then you don't know how to deal with it yourself and you make me feel bad because I'm not doing the things that maybe I should be doing. I'm not walking around. I'm not doing like their friends are doing. What she has is why are you not doing that? I don't need that. I don't need that.
Yeah.
So I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
That
I didn't mean to digress.
no, yeah. Well, you're right, though. Stress has a huge impact on your MS. I feel like I'm like the poster child for that. So I
Yeah.
get it. And you're
Well, I'm right behind you. I'm right behind
yeah,
you.
yeah. I can see you and me both.
I call
Um,
stress
God.
a mass murderer.
yeah, Miss Murderer. Yes. Um,
That's what
Oh
I call it.
God.
book about like a
Oh
little short
Lord.
story. Anyway, um, yeah, I feel like I I I go through like these times in my life where I completely forget about my stress management skills and like
Mm.
the things that other people have taught me on how to manage stress. And so then I wonder why everything hurts, and I wonder why why my MS is, I'm not handling it as well, is what that is. So yeah, I'm also trying to figure out how to de-stress and how to. I luckily for me, I'm not in an environment like you're in. That sounds very
Thank
stressful.
God. Yeah,
Yeah,
thank God.
I
Jeez.
honestly I don't know how you do it because that would drive me crazy too.
I don't know
But
either. I don't want to go to that extreme. I won't say the bad
yeah,
word. I heard about somebody doing that, taking that extreme, but I said, well, I have to other people that would be very upset and despondent if I did that. Because I'm like, literally read about somebody saying they had gotten to that point, couldn't take it anymore, so they just said enough. I mean,
mm,
your body's not agreeing with you, this is not agreeing with you, nothing is agreeing with you, and you're like,
yeah,
why do you keep trying? What's the point? But no, you can't do that.
yeah,
And so, but it's exhausting. It's exhausting. It really is.
sounds like it. Yeah,
So I guess I choose to be alone. I'd rather just be alone. I don't want,
yeah,
just don't.
yeah. Just try. I guess try and block that person out as much as you can. It's as much as you can.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I stay in my room all day, like I am
yeah,
with my little
which doesn't
cat.
help.
Because I'm like JD Vance said. I don't want to say that name, but I said I'm a childless cat lady. So
Hey,
I'm
me
proud.
too.
I'm proud childless cat lady.
Yeah, high five. Me
So she keeps she's my comfort cat, like
too.
the
Oh, I
dog,
love
the
it.
dogs, isn't it? So she keeps me calm. We keep each other calm, and so that's my little girl. Tan Tan.
Me and you both, okay? I joke about that all the time. I have 4 cats. They're my
Okay.
children.
Yes, exactly.
Louise
Exactly.
Louise was in here earlier before I started the recording, and she watched my cat. I was trying to talk to
Uh,
her, but my
uh,
cat's distracting me, both of us
uh,
maybe, because she was like climbing down from the stairs right there. So I wish
beautiful,
I'd
beautiful.
caught that on camera, but yes, I
Yeah, that would have been
Baby
cool.
Vance wouldn't like either of us.
No, he wouldn't. And I don't care. So anyway,
Me neither. Cat lady for life.
okay, that's it.
Oh my god. Yeah. Okay,
Oh
guys.
man.
Well, it is 2
Yeah.
209 my time, 309 your time,
Hmm.
your Eastern time.
Hmm.
Is there anything you guys would like to just say real quick, close out with? Open the floor again. I mean, we talked about a lot today. We-
We
yeah,
did.
a lot of really good conversations today, so this is great. Yeah, just I guess I just want to thank you guys for being here. I always love joining you guys. I wish I had more time to join in more often. But I was able to come in today, so I'm good.
It's good to see you. Yeah.
Yeah. Hey,
I'm
Hannah,
Alexis.
just as
I
good.
want to say really quick,
Yes.
I got to talk to our Solo Arts Heal guest for tomorrow today.
Yeah, yeah.
You're going to want to go. So she's a stand-up comedian
Uh-huh.
and she has stage 4 cancer. And actually, she talked about some of that's why I'm like, I have to jump in and say this. She actually talked about some of the stuff that was talked about in this group. And she was just phenomenal. So I encourage you that tomorrow we have Solar Teal. Go. You will have a great time. You will laugh. It will be great. She was just phenomenal to talk to. I was so disappointed that she had to go to work.
Oh,
I
darn work.
dang it. I
Darn
was
work.
very disappointed. But
Cool.
one of the
Yeah.
things that I love that we talked about is that whenever you have a condition of any kind, people have a caricature of like what they expect you to be.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't live up to that, people either think you're faking or you're disappointment or things like
Confusing.
that. And so, yeah. And so she has part of her
Confusing.
routine is about that. And I was like, I'm
Oh, that's
excited to hear that. So I
okay.
wanted to plug
Uh,
that. It's going to be a really great episode. I typically like, but this one, I loved our guests. So
Is it recorded or is it something that
yes.
you
So,
attend?
so you can watch it live, but they are all recorded, so you can watch them later as well.
And I'm just looking for a pen. What was the name of the?
So it's Solo Arts Heal, and you can find it. And all of our past ones, I am pulling it up from our website. You can watch all of our past ones that we have ever done. Hannah was a guest too.
last
It
year
was a
or
good
2 years
one.
ago?
Oh my gosh, how do I not remember this? Let me look.
Like it
I'm
was
gonna
last
look.
year, but time is moving so fast now. I don't know.
Yeah, it's I feel like
Hannah, it was 2022.
Oh
it was
no,
2 years
2 years
ago.
ago.
2 years ago. Oh my
Oh my
gosh, yeah.
god, okay. Well,
It's
if you need
crazy.
another guest, I'm happy to do it again.
I want to just circle back to the beginning of our conversation and encourage anybody who has been watching us for 2 years to join
Mm.
us.
Yes.
Yeah. We
I,
would
I because I want to say that I always check, and what I did a bit of a research, and I went over quite a few sessions, and the numbers are always 70 plus. So there are people watching us right now, and maybe we can invite you to join us
yeah.
We would
because it's,
love to meet you.
that's
Uh-huh.
right. And
Yep.
after I followed you guys for 2 years and then I joined, I want to say that being part of the group is so much better. Is so much better because just watching it, you feel like you want to say something or but you can't. So
Yeah.
yeah, thanks Andrea for bringing that up because it would be really great if other people could join. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
We'd love to
Talking to
meet them.
you.
Yep.
You join us.
Yeah.
You.
You join us.
We have a spot for you.
Yes.
Yes, we do.
Yeah.
And pretty soon we're gonna have an MS under 45 group as well. Okay, so hopefully this was the first Wednesdays of the month. Okay,
Yeah.
so yeah, it's under 45. So if you happen to be under 45 years old and have MS, and I say 45 because it's a pretty number, but really it's just around that age, you know. Um, or if you were diagnosed when you were under that age, then you're more than welcome to
You
come.
could be an alumni,
Yeah, there you go. Yes, and a graduate. Okay,
graduate, like
great.
alumni. You're coming back, like homecoming,
Yes, yes. We welcome you with open arms.
Spirit Week. You know.
First Wednesdays of the month. Anything else? Oh yeah, where our next art class is going to take place September 3rd, and that's a reschedule. Okay, a lot of crazy stuff happening.
Is it just because of our banter that reminded you? Because that reminded
Yes.
me, like this is the Alexa and Hannah,
Yeah.
like typical what you would see at the art class. So that's probably what
Yeah,
reminded
pretty
me. Yes.
much. Yeah. That's what reminded me. So I need that reminder sometimes. But yes, we so one of the reschedules is going to be September 3rd. It's going to be an acrylic painting. We'll paint some koi fish, and the regular class, all regular classes, knock on wood, will resume after that. So, third Thursdays of the month. Stay tuned. All right,
Okay.
y'all. I'm gonna stop the recording now.